Welcome to TransurfingTV, y'all. I'm Renee Garcia, and today, how to transurf yourself a new goal. I am seeing so many repetitive questions from people right now, like, help, I'm suffering from anxiety. Help, I'm suffering from depression. How do I find my goal? I mean, it is really remarkable that we sort of collectively go through so much together. And that's why I'm tackling these things right now, is because I feel that it's time. I'm going to just keep going with the questions that I'm encountering so much of, because it is really a powerful step. In my previous videos, the ones where I went over depression and anxiety, did you guys notice, like, the key really there was being tuned in to a meaningful goal intended for you? And yes, transurfing is a goal-based modality, because when you're really creating from a place where you are fueling an endeavor that is intended for you, there is no other higher sense of happiness, at least that I've experienced. And I know Vadim Zeland is the same too, right? His soul frail and the things that he experienced in his life, his induced transitions, his depression, all of that stuff was cured, or at least highly managed, by creating a meaningful goal that was intended for him. And that was writing Reality Transurfing, obviously. So here's the cool thing. Oh, before I get started though, remember, like this video and comment below. My world is taking care of me to enter my giveaway for the stickers. And remember the Teachable course down below too, guys. So here's the cool thing that I have learned with this modality. Your goal is not intended for someone else. Okay, so I know that sounds like, well, what do you mean by that? So what I'm trying to say here is that if it is your goal, right? If you have figured out, and I'm going to get into all that in a moment, if you have figured out your goal and you're like, well, wait a second, that seems like it's too hard, or that doesn't seem like something I'm capable of, or I don't understand how I'm going to get to that destination, or that seems great, but somebody else is going to be able to do that better than me. They'll have the skills, they'll have the whatever, right? Transurfing debunks this, and I am walking proof of this, you guys. I've suffered from emotional crap in my life. I have been depressed. I have been doubting myself, doubting my reality, having a really tumultuous time in life. And if you 5 years ago would have told me, hey Renee, there's this awesome thing that's intended for you, you're going to be an instructor of this modality, and you're going to have a YouTube channel and have a following of transurfers that are all transforming their lives with this knowledge, and you are going to be creating every day and fueling this thing, I would have laughed and said, I have absolutely none of the skills or none of the stuff that it would take for me to ever possibly do that. That's great for someone else, but for me, I mean, give me a break. That sounds like a freaking joke, right? That's what I would have said. Now, 5 years later, I realize exactly what Vadim's talking about in this book, that things in this world, there is nothing in this world that is intended for someone else and not you, except the things not intended for you that are intended for someone else. But for you, if that thing is intended for you and you feel that thing, no matter how challenging it seems to get started or how you're going to do it, the world, via outer intention and the alternatives flow, absolutely will help you out. But you have to be willing to take action. So this is where I'm going to get into the meat of my lesson, everyone. What I'm going to suggest first, if you are lacking a goal right now and you don't know what the hell to do, you simply need to start taking different action, anomalous action. You need to get yourself out of your comfort zone. Start small. It may simply be walking a new way to work, but slowly start to amp it up and take steps outside of your normal steps that you take every single day, and things will start to appear and opportunities will pop up and you'll see signs. So I'm going to go into all of this. The 30 Anomalous Action Challenge. This is huge. Go watch that video. This is a big one for you making a commitment to take a step every single day for 30 consecutive days outside of your little box of comfort and start mixing it up, right? New material, new information, new opportunities, new faces, new signs, all sorts of stuff popping up in your life, on your life track, that you can actually get some inspiration from, right? Something can be triggered, you can see something, maybe you feel heart and mind coordination over something, but you have to get that new material coming in. Otherwise, you're just dead on your life track. And I've talked about this a few times, being dead on your life track. This means that you're just experiencing all the same stuff. That's monotony, right? That's you just tuning in to that same sector of reality and not gaining any new insights, not accessing any new information, not seeing any new opportunities. This is you being stagnant on your current life track. So you've got to mix that up, and that's the function of the 30 Anomalous Action Challenge. So go back and take a look at that. Be willing to give in to the flow. And I know I'm being redundant here. I've talked about this on both my last videos, but this is huge, everyone. Reality is a river, a flowing river of events and people and opportunities and all sorts of stuff. And when you load up a singular rock with importance and excess potential, this is my life, I've got to see this work out, I've got to stay with this partner, I've got to stay with this job, I've got to stay doing the same thing, I've got to do this, I got to do that, this is important to me, I've started this, I can't let go, blah, 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 blah. This is you not giving into the flow, and it is going to be very, very challenging for you to access your goal without letting go of that rock. Letting go of that rock, you have access to all sorts of other rocks in the alternative space. And you access these via the flow, but you have to give in and allow yourself to sort of move downstream, if you will. This will also start presenting signs to you. So again, when you take a step outside of your comfort zone, let's say it's something as simple as walking a new way to work, you are going to encounter new bits of information and material that might trigger something, it might inspire something. This comes to us in the form of guiding signs. So I teach all about this in my 2.0 course, Tuning Into Guiding Signs. This is huge. This is you taking something outside of you as a cue or a key or a push, if you will, to at least start thinking about whatever you have just encountered. Now, when this happens, you might get lucky and feel a little jolt of heart and mind coordination. When you feel that jolt of heart and mind coordination, you know that that might be something intended for you. But remember, if you walk the same way to work and you don't take that alternate path, you may not access that thing that triggers something in you that's like, oh, wait a second, what is that? I'm going to look more into that because that seems interesting. Or maybe you get lucky and you get heart and mind coordination at the get, right? So before I end this video, one last point, how to transurf yourself a new goal. Of course, this is the biggest one This is you tuning in to your soul frail. Remember, we have life tracks in our realities. The alternative space is filled with every variation of event. Everything is in there. And if we tune ourselves to our soul frail, we correspond to those things or that life track that is intended for us. So let's say you have no goal, right? And you're just sort of dead on a life track, as I like to say. When you tune to your soul frail, that actually corresponds you with a version of reality more intended for you. And how this happens is your frequency, right? You start resonating at a different frequency. You start attracting new material, new information, new opportunity, and you start highlighting a different sector of reality that is more intended for you. And I'll tell you what, this is magic when you can get into this mode, when you can change reality just by tuning your frequency, by tuning into your soul frail and getting connected with that track more intended for you. You absolutely see the power in reality transurfing. So remember to like this video if you do in fact like it. Comment below. My world is taking care of me. And don't forget my teachable course, y'all. Bye.